Hello everybody, so we are today to speak about art and technology, and I'm very pleased to welcome some very advanced people on this topic. I will introduce myself. I'm Benoit Baume. I'm the founder of Fisheye magazine, which is a magazine which speaks about contemporary imaging. And I found also a festival called BRR Festival, which is a virtual reality festival in Arles during les rencontres d'Arles. And we'll see also that today, as the technology changed a lot the way the artists can bring a global atmosphere to the audience. We'll start with Liu Wa. Can you introduce yourself?
I'm Liu Wa, and I'm an artist, and I'm participating in the IRL platform as HNL right now. So I'm showing and brainwave interactive installation along with a video project, a 2-channel video, and I'm really glad to be invited to this panel.
So you come with your...
And I come with Liu Wa. My name is Masha Faurschou. I'm participating in Asia now in the role of the gallery owner who is representing Liu Wa. And personally, I have been very interested in the technological aspects of art and supporting the developments with artists and trying to follow the latest solutions in technology. And I have also co-founded a virtual reality art production company called Khora Contemporary, where we enable artists to produce virtual reality, and we have been showcasing the works quite actively around the world since 2016. And we feel that we have pioneered the field and introduced virtual reality works as works of art, and kind of established the presence of that artistic medium in the art world, and look forward to see how that develops further.
We are also with Sylvain today.
Yes, half of DSL. Yes, bonjour. Yes, I'm part of DSLcollection. The best part is not there, that's my wife. We have decided, since we have opened this collection, to share it in a digital way, physical and digital. But what is important in the way we look at technology is always that it's technology which serves art and not art which serves technology. So we always try to find a way where art is still actually at the center of the experience.
Thank you. And we are also with Charleen Leo.
Hello everyone. So thank you Asianal for inviting me here to talk. I'm Charleen, and I work at the ArtScience Museum in Singapore. So we are interested in the intersection of art, science, technology, and culture. And through our permanent exhibition, Future World, which we developed together, we think that we hope to illustrate to you the point how technology changed how we experience art. Because it's a fully immersive digital environment that sort of evolved and changed all the time due to listener participation.
Just to start, I wanted to share with you last project that we opened 3 weeks ago inside the cave of Ruinart in Reims. I used to work with Ruinart for the last 5 years, and they asked me to bring something linked to the nature. So we work with 2 artists of Barcelona called Benoit and Laurier. And we bring a piece of art which is linked with 42 sensors to the nature, so to the temperature, to the humidity, to a lot of things. And it's completely controlled by an artificial intelligence. So it means that the piece of art is not controlled in any way by a human will, but only by the computer. And I wanted just to show you the video So I think you won't have the sound, but you can see. So it's inside the cave. It's in a cave which is 40 meters high, and we generate only organic light. And it's only the computers that control it, linked to the nature. And this piece will be there for the next 10 years, and will control and monitor the nature for the next 10 years to see the evolution. If you go in house, I recommend you to visit it because it's not the same when you experience it than when you see it. So, and each time you see it, it's different because it's linked to what's happened outside in the nature. So, we start with the project of Liu Wa. Can you tell us a little bit of your project, and maybe we'll see.
And play the video at the back. And,
yeah, sure.
Yes, so I'm showing a brainwave interactive installation. Maybe. So it is a brainwave interactive installation that makes use of EEG technology and combines it with optical illusion. So as the viewer is entering this space, the viewer is invited to don this EEG headset that picks up the brain signal from the scalp. And then his or her concentration or relaxation level will be reflected in the color of the light in the room. And as the color changes, the painting also appears to be different. So as the color was green earlier, and then as it comes to red, the figures in the paintings will appear from the dark silhouettes, and the figures will emerge. So really, in different states of mind, the viewer will see the same paintings differently. And however, the painting is now revealed in its real appearance in the regular white light, which really alludes to how people perceive the world, because we experience the same world, but we also really have different stances, like political stances or different ideas of whatever is going on around us. So yes, I'm interested in technology, how technology can give us a special lens to the viewer to view art from a different angle. And actually, I didn't came from a neuroscience background. I studied anthropology, and my humanity education really gives me the idea that humans should be perceived as free, as individual agents with free will. However, when I got myself familiar with neuroscience or science in general, I realized that I'm so fascinated but also shocked by the scientific perspective of human being as well. For example, like the EEG technology I'm using can actually measure our brain activity, and it can analyze our emotion and our consciousness. And at the same time, medications like antidepressants or psychedelic drug can actually act on our neurons to change how we see and feel about the world. So it really makes me question what is free will again, and do we really have control over ourselves? So that's really an overthrow of my previous values, of my existing values. But I also found it really interesting because I think both science and art are two divergent but complementary approaches to human perception and consciousness. So I try to combine these two, the cutting edge technology with the more traditional form of painting, to bring them together and spark this, I guess, conversation or dialogue, or it could be debate between the more traditional way of perceiving ourselves and a more cutting edge way of, I don't know, seeing the future and seeing the future human being. Yes.
But when did you start to think I will use the technology for my art? What was the starting point?
Yes, so I started my first project with neuroscientists 2 years ago, and it was for a senior project in college. It was really fun. So actually, I got to know this the founder of one of the tech company who provides this kind of commercial EEG headset, and I found it really interesting. And yeah, I just started collaborating with the tech company, and they provided like technology. Technical help and support for me. But however, as I move forward, I realized that neuroscience is getting more and more interesting, and a commercial product is probably not enough to make a really deep work. So I'm collaborating with another company and also professors in neuroscience to use. So the device I'm using right now is for like scientific research and in hospital, so it's more accurate, but it's a little bit hard to put on. But I think the accuracy of the technology is really important. It's really the foundation of this work too. So as the practice goes on, also there are also a lot of struggles with the technology, but it's also a really fun process of learning new knowledge as well.
So, is this project, what was for you the main goal that, for the audience? What do you want that the people keep from your experience?
You mean my expectation for the
Yes.
viewer? I think it is important for me to allow the viewer to have their own interpretations, so they can see how their feelings are reflected in the states. And I think the most important thing is that different people in different states of mind will see the different aspect of the same work. And also technology really allows me to do so because it really brings the viewer and the artwork so close, so intimately together, so that the work actually can only exist when the audience is participating in it. And
as a gallery, how do we make the choice to show this kind of work? We know that today is not maybe the more easy piece to sell or to propose. So how do we start to think, okay, I will go on this kind of piece with a lot of technological aspects?
I think in general today we stand at the time when there is this combined feeling. One feeling is that the world is getting tired of the usual techniques and usual media. So we can see that there is a lot of curiosity and a lot of experimentation with all kinds of new possible ways to create art or be creative. So the other phenomenon that we are viewing is this widespread kind of playground with technology, where now we have artists working with artificial intelligence, we have artists working with TeamLab who create immersive experiences, and actually TeamLab is one of the examples who really have made a shift into turning the art into something experiential. And the same stands for virtual reality artists who work in that medium. And we can see more and more that this is what people want. They want to have the experience rather than maybe own the object. And that's something that is a little bit scary because it's changing the whole way we understand the art and the art world, but it's also exciting. And as a part of the art world, of being one of the players in the art world, I feel that I have no choice but to follow my own speaks to me in this new technological approach to art. So by meeting Liu Wa and finding that she's working with this very special approach by creating immersive experiences, but at the same time making it so extremely personal and humanistic, which often you don't see with some aspects of applying technology to the arts. I think that really spoke to me, and so I had this feeling that I have to work with this artist and support what she's doing. And actually, commercially, it hasn't been as difficult as you might think, because there are collectors who are interested in really helping selling the works from this particular series into the collections. And I couldn't say that it's going, it's not as challenging.
Okay, no, but because we know that the market, for example, of the video, which is a long market now, art video, was a complicated market, and but we see that with the technology, the things are changing now. And maybe we can ask the question to Sylvain. How do you start to think about have this kind of collection linked to into technology? And maybe another question, because you mentioned it, is how do we make the difference between which is art and which is entertainment, or which is, and how do we know that it's still a piece of art when we use a technology, and how we make the difference with entertainment?
Really difficult questions, so I don't know how to answer. First, I think that for me, what is my definition of contemporary? For me, contemporary is about challenging the status quo. And I think that on this panel, you have people who are challenging the status quo. So already, I think that what's happening today with this guy supporting this type of artist and what you're doing in Singapore, you are totally challenging the status quo. So this is my first idea, and we always want the collection to be in this kind of spirit. So we are always looking at this kind of, of things, very curious. And the other thing which is interesting is that I'm really impressed by you. I tell you, I'm very impressed because you are young compared to perhaps myself. And you have such a clear idea of how you see yourself, how you present your work. You have an incredible, you believe in what you're doing, which is, I think, important today where many people doubt.
She understands what she's doing.
And also, you believe in what you're doing, and you believe that what you're doing is relevant. And I think this is something very interesting to see this new generation, which is not speaking about market, but speaking about how they can be, as I would say, first, how they can express their desire to be an artist in the 21st century, but also how they think that they can be useful, not just through an art market point of view. So I think this is my first reaction to the time. And I think that's whatever we could do to listen and to be inspired for the collection, it's the only way for us to stay relevant for the next 10 years. And once again, you're speaking about art and technology. I will put my point of view on another level. I think that we speak a lot of artificial intelligence. I prefer to speak of emotional intelligence. The human nature is a creator of logic, but also a creator of emotions. And art is the best way to create emotion. It can be through digital ways, it can be through écriture ways. And I think that we have to accept every time that it's bringing emotion, and not only visual stimulus. I think it has to be, I should say, height and support. This is how I look at that.
And thank you. And for the second question, which was the difference between art and entertainment when we speak about technology?
That's also another question which is interesting, because when we decided to become public, to make the collection public, which is our choice, nobody is obliged to make this collection public, you have to try to understand how it can be relevant. It's not showing yourself, it's how for the others to become relevant. And so you are obliged to study, to open your eyes on how to be relevant. And what we can see today, just what you can see. First is that more and more we are moving from contemplation to experiment. That's, we are in a world where experiences become as important as the object. And the other thing, if you look at some survey, there was a survey made by Culture 17 on American museums. And what the question was, why people go to museums? You know what is the response? 81% for having fun. So, if you can bring experience, yes, you can bring edutainment, okay? So, art and technology, a way to do it. But it's not the only way to do it, but it's one of the ways which speaks to the people of our time.
And, yeah, sure.
I think in my personal view, I've always actually questioned myself, asking this question about what is art and what is entertainment. And by experiencing each new work of art, each new approach, I always try to kind of tick that box and define to myself. And then I always think about what are my criteria, how do I understand this? And I think the closest answer is that art has to push you a little further. So it always challenges you in a strange way. It always kind of catches you by surprise, where you suddenly discover something about yourself or about the world around you. And that's one of the definitions of what makes it art for me. It can also be something that gives you a profound experience where you feel something so strong that you kind of feel out of control with trying to understand what it is. And that's something that I call art. And you can achieve it with technology or without, but more and more it is achieved with technology. And entertainment is something that perhaps just pleases your sight. Sometimes it's aesthetically, it's like a candy, and then when you leave, you are left with a feeling of emptiness afterwards. So then I know this is not really art. That's my personal criteria.
I think if I may add on to it, very often people think that team network are sort of an entertainment, like how do you define team network, because it's so immersive, it's an experience, but is it really art in the sense itself? I think you're right to say that art perhaps evoke an emotion to it, and entertainment sort of giving emptiness, but the question is entertainment really a bad thing? If having fun and the artwork, is it bad? Or is it just a way of people experiencing art? Art doesn't really serve to have to educate a notion out of it, but if it brings a different feeling to people, like just having fun, just really enjoying it, just taking Instagram, for example, I think it's also the way of them choosing how they want to experience art. So I think there's not really much distinction between art and entertainment, but I think they can both coexist together.
Is there a difference between art and entertainment?
I would say these are really the boundary between art and entertainment is really fluid, and also is a really personal choice for the audience. I have a lot of friends who are not in the art field and they love Team Lab, and it's really a great way for them to enter contemporary art. But I guess at the same time, I have friends who are really like artists or like writers about art, about like contemporary art. Some people will think that they would like to see something more complicated and challenging. So I think it's definitely personal choice. I wouldn't say like here's a hard standard. There's a hard division between art and entertainment, and also like Masha, I think she's also speaking for herself as well, because it's really your little box to check, and Yeah, and I think it's everyone's choice is really respectable.
You know, I think it's an interesting debate, but I think art is about diversity. First, art is very difficult today to define. It goes from performance to even a restaurant and artsy. You know, it's very difficult to know what is art today, and especially today with the different type of consumer of art. We have something very, very diverse. But I think that I go to school at Team Lab or Team Lab or Atelier Dendier or whatever. I can be entertained, but I will not be challenged. I can go out to this and say, wow, I had a great experience. But I will not be influenced by that. I will not be influenced. When I go out from a great exhibition, a big exhibition, I'm influenced. I see the nature of the human person in a different way. And for me, the difference between art into brackets with a certain number of works which are considered art is if I can be really come out with that, not only with a visual stimulus, but with something a little bit deeper. And this is for me.
So maybe we'll speak about immersive art, because when we speak about technology and art, more and more we go inside immersive today. One of the leading artistic group of that is Team Lab, and so you just into a project with them in Singapore. So maybe you can speak about that.
Sure. So I work for the ArtScience Museum in Singapore, so that's the lotus flower shaped building over there. But to provide a context why we work with Team Lab is that the museum itself is very interested in exploring the intersection of art, science, technology, and culture. We believe that they may be different fields, but they have to, in a way, reference back to Leonardo da Vinci, everything connects to everything. So we believe that it is at this interrelationship that when new ideas are being formed, and that's where the future is created in a sense itself. So we really want to bring forward this mandate and ethos of our museum through working with an art collaborative group. And so we work together with Team Lab, who is an art collaborative. I'll introduce them much later on, to create Future World where art meets science. And Future World itself is sort of like an immersive 1,005 square meter digital universe. Currently, we have 17 art installations that are in place, and they are always changing. So when you walk into it, it's different because a lot of it comes from the viewer participation and presence. The viewer becomes quite an integral part to the artwork itself, and they change how it actually looks like throughout the whole entire exhibition. I say we have 17 right now because it's a digital art, sort of digital artwork that we put inside. So it allows us to fairly change the artwork quickly. So we plan to change all the some of the artwork every year and so on. Team Lab. Why we choose to work with Team Lab is because they really reflect the ideology that we have. They are art collaborative, but they're not just made up of artists. They're made up of a wide group of people with programmer, engineer, CG animators, mathematician, architecture, and designer. And they call themselves ultra technologists. I think that's really inside. Future World, you can say we can just put all Team Lab work inside, but it's more than just that. We have 4 teams, and each team speaks about a different story. And in each different area, we use cutting-edge science and technology to change this ever-changing environment. And really taken as a whole, Future World is where we would like to say when art, science, technology all meet together. I can go on explaining about how Team Lab works and everything, but I think it's most best to illustrate through a video. So what you see here is this work called Transcending Boundaries. It's made out of 6 different artwork. Taken individually, they can stand alone, but all 6 together come together as Transcending Boundary. So you get to see the waterfall cascading down, and as you step on it, you open up a sort of a portal around you, and flower blooms from your feet. The flower are not program generated or whatever, but rather it's real time, meaning that it's seasonal. If you walk in during summer, sunflower will bloom. You walk in during spring, cherry blossom will bloom.
And as you stand there, butterflies actually grow from you, and then they enter your feet and they go around the space, and they sort of fly into the different monitor artwork. And by flying through the different monitor artwork, it breaks the boundary between the artwork and the artwork, but at the same time, because you are at the heart of it, you influence how the artwork looks like. It blurs the boundary between the viewer and the artwork. Very often when we view something, it's sort of like we see an artwork, we stand there and we view it. But in TeamLab's form, you stand there and you create a change to the environment itself. So in a way, the behavior of someone who was there 5 minutes before you and the behavior of someone who's standing right beside you becomes really important right now, because they all come together collaboratively to change the environment. I have another video here called Sliding Through the Fruit View. This is when we first opened Future World in 2016, we posed this challenge to TeamLab. How do we explore body in relation to the artwork? As I said, viewing artwork, most of the time we stand up or we sit down and review it. But what if we change our concept of it? What if we appreciate artwork through lying down, through sliding down something? So when we first introduced, there wasn't any artwork, it was just a slide that allows people to slide down from one space to another space. So it's like, instead of walking from it's a transitional space where you walk from one space to one space, we get people to slide down to change their perspective. So they slide down with a bird eye view of what we call Tau Air. In 2017, 1 year later, TeamLab responded to our question, and they put on this artwork called Sliding Through the Fruit View, where the viewer is extremely important, because when you slide down, you are sort of like the sunlight. And the sunlight, is all the creation of life itself. So as you slide down, you cause all the blue balls and the yellow balls to sort of pink around. And the blue ball represents water. And so when it hits the flower, as it hits the buds, it causes flowers to grow. And when the yellow ball hits the flower, it causes fruits to grow. So it's like the whole life cycle of flora and that. And when you slide down, you can cut through the fruit. And that's what I really like about it, is the subtleness of the whole fragility of nature. Like humans actually have an impact in nature itself, because when we slide down, we cause the fruit to disintegrate and kind of fly all around. But it's not presented in a very scary form. Instead, it's just presented to you quite subtly that we have an impact on nature itself. And so that allows us really to experience how people view artwork in Future World itself. The way they behave is completely different from the other show that we put up, and it also changes the way how we then decide on our future program, what we do, because our audiences now expect this level of immersiveness and interactivity coming from the museum.
And so it's now 2 or 3 years that you work with it's 2 years now that you work with TeamLab?
We worked with TeamLab in 2016.
Yes, so 2 years. So
3 years ago.
It's 3 years already. And what is the feedback from the visitor and your feedback? I mean, it's really something that you want to keep on the future.
Yes, this is our permanent exhibition, so it's something that will happen at ArtScience Museum for a while. But of course, the feedback from the visitor is they really appreciate the segue into art. Sometimes museum can be quite daunting in a sense. Access is a barrier for people to go in and appreciate art. But I think TeamLab in this case really breaks the barrier, increase the diversity of people coming in through the door to appreciate what we call art. And I know it's up for contention whether this is art or not, but in a way it brings a whole new crowd of people to the museum, a different sector, a different audience the museum was going for. And now we managed to do that, so we will continue to work together with TeamLab in the near future.
Thank you, Charlie. We see that this immersive come also in a very different way, like virtual reality. We see also some artists like Miguel et Le Chevalier, Joanny Le Mercier, Pablo y Valbuena, Echaofe. No, I don't. Saofe, excuse me. But we see a lot of wide range of artists today that bring this kind of technology. I know that you also run programs when you bring the artists, they are not specialized to technology, to VR, and to introduce themselves to this technology. You can explain us a little bit what is your goal and how you manage to do that?
Yes. some years ago, me and my husband were inspired. I have to go to, yeah, so let's stop here. We were very inspired by seeing how technology has taken over the art world, and in particular virtual reality was something that felt to us like it opens a lot of dimensions in the way that a viewer can overcome a lot of kind of physical limitations by experiencing artwork in a way where perhaps they will not have, you can overcome the law of gravity and you can fly, and your brain is absolutely believing the feeling and sensation that you're experiencing. Or in the same way, you can walk through walls, or you can have things happen to your body, where you can be floating in the water and have the sensation of floating. And that's something that traditional art techniques would have difficulty in achieving. So just this kind of limitless opportunities were very exciting to us. So we met with a young group of, it was a virtual reality hub who were working more in the scientific field, working with education and medicine and creating all kinds of special programs for training. So we teamed up with them, creating a company called Khora Contemporary, which was then committed to enabling artists who don't want to become programmers, or who don't want to learn the language and understand how to create an artwork digitally themselves, but who have an idea and want to implement it, try virtual reality. So we would send a team to the artist studio, or the artist would come to us and explain his concept, and then we would find the best language to realize it. And because there are different techniques that can be applied, you can use video, you can make animation, you can create things in very different ways. So by kind of listening and tuning to the artist and their concept, and listening to what their final agenda is, we tried to enable them to create these pieces. And so far we have worked with such artists as Christian Lemmertz, Eric Parker, Paul McCarthy, Liu Wa, and we also try to we try to not only pick famous names, we also try to support young artists. So here on the screen you see a work by a Ukrainian artist, Nikita Shaleni, who created this adventure in watercolor. He created this watercolor black and white world where you're following this kind of figures without identity around the globe. And this work has become, it is accompanied by a beautiful soundtrack, and it really takes you into a completely different artistic creation, which still remains very traditional in the way that it's watercolor. And it affects people emotionally a lot, so we hear a lot of feedback about how people, something moved in them. In the same way, for instance, in the work of, this is how you would see the works installed. This was at Art Basel this year, a work by Paul McCarthy, the previous one. And the interesting thing that you would think that technology maybe makes people estranged or kind of filters away certain kind of public from experiencing the work. But what we found through our exhibition experience around the world is that it appeals to the young and to the old, and a great majority of people get into it very quickly, so they don't need like a long introduction or a lot of time to understand and connect with it. The connection happens pretty instant, and this immersive experience of that's actually something that is particular to virtual reality language today, is that you are in the artwork alone, because you can't see anyone around you, so you believe this environment which is kind of working with you, and the way your brain functions is that you absolutely believe that you are experiencing this completely alone, that you're lonely at this very point of time. And the interesting trick in working with this, we can come back to that. But in working with Paul McCarthy, I think we just didn't include this image. But in working with Paul McCarthy, he used a very interesting particularity of virtual reality, whereby using the fact that you are completely alone, he surrounds you by characters who start to address you, and he really used it very cleverly to kind of leave you without defense, where you can be suddenly attacked in this virtual world, not physically attacked, but more psychologically kind of bullied, and to feel that feeling. And that's something that you really can't do if it wasn't for virtual reality, for example. So it's kind of, it enables you to bring another psychological aspect in the artwork and bring it much closer to your very, very intimate feelings, very personal feelings. So that's, I think, the strength of the medium.
That's a very strong medium, and we can see some experiences like this summer we show a piece of IS+F, the artistic group called Psychosis, and you go inside the psychos of the artist, and that was something very, very strong, and a lot of people had to come out of the experience because it was too strong for them. But we get around 10,000 people that test the experience this summer, and yes, that was quite a very strong time. As we can see also, you speak about the fact that you are alone, but we see more and more today in virtual reality some global experience when you can be like 4, 5, 10 people all together in the same virtual world. As we can, I don't know if you see the experience of Inaritu, Ecarnei Arena that he showed in a Cannes Festival 2.5 years ago, and after it was shown at the Fondation Prana in Milano, which is a global experience when you can be 8 together, and it's in 500 square meters. We see more and more that this experience become a collective. How do you think that that it will impact us in the way to be inside an artistic world, which become not just a moment or not just a time, but that will be more and more global? Do you think it can be? I mean, we see that Facebook make an announcement that they want to create like a virtual world, like was some years ago Second Life. Do you think that we can create a new artistic world in the virtual world when we can express this? Do you think it can be the next level of art and technology?
I think one thing I can tell you is that we think about it a lot, and we question it, and we don't have the answer. We know for now that it's definitely taken over. We know for now that more and more artists are inspired and enabled by the technology. The same with audience. As technological advance grows, so for instance, this experience of being together at the same time inside the virtual reality environment only happened because the data can be fitted into the devices in such a way that you can have enough data capacity to transfer all the data. So the technology is improving, and that enables us to experience it in a kind of wireless, more easy way. At the same time, in my personal observation, I think you kind of see how humanity is getting carried away with going too technological in some ways, and stepping away too far from reality and being really, really taken by that. But I think ultimately, again, my very personal opinion, what we will find in the end is that the most appealing and successful artworks or creations by people and artists are the ones that appeal to nature. I think that's part of the success of Team Lab, and that's also part of success of Liu Wa, because there she's working with human being, which is the element of nature. And I think when humanity kind of gets enough of playing with technology and improves it much more, we will find that we will combine technology and nature together, and that will be our ultimate balance point, where we will find our harmony. And I think the best illustration of example of that was this incredibly inspiring exhibition by Tommaso Saracino that we have seen at Palais de Tokyo, where that was kind of an illustration how technology was combined with nature and brought together in a way that, to me, revolutionized my understanding of art.
And maybe also another field that we can see on art and technology is the way that the kids or new audience come to art, because they don't used to go in museum, but with this new mediation, they can go more easily on art. What is your point of view of kids and technology? Okay, for example, in your piece of art, did you think about a limit of age to use your piece of art? And you think that is there a limit for the kids to use this kind of technology?
I really don't see any limitation as long as the viewer is comfortable or interested. I think everyone is welcome, and especially during the exhibition in Asia now right now, many people of different age come, and people are interested, and yeah, everyone can join. I don't see any limitation. Yes, a lot of kids, really cute, and also maybe people older. It's like every age. Yeah.
Maybe for Sylvain, because you have a public show of your piece. So what is the way that the people interact with your piece, and the question of the kids?
First, the best person to respond to this question would be my daughter. Charleen, because she's been doing a lot of events, especially with the young. Let's try to study my feeling of what I see. First, why VR is interesting for me? Because since today you're looking at the screen, small one, big one, 4K, 8K, whatever you want. With VR, it's about immersion and interest. It's the first time that you are in another world, and this may already a big change. So, the other thing with VR, it's about also you don't have any physical constraint, so you can create any type of experience because there's no physical constraint. So this is what I do believe in VR as a new way to, experience new spaces and new emotions. Coming back to your question, and especially with the kids, I do believe that there is a misimportance that we reach by VR. The people who are old people, disabled, tomorrow with the mask, will be able to visit an exhibition in Rio, Paris, Shanghai. Okay? And I think this is for me the most interesting to the audience that we are trying to reach. Then you have the youngest, and who will look at VR like a video game. But what I was listening to you, I think that VR will become part of our life. The day when VR will no more be considered as technology. You know, smartphone, don't look at the smartphone as a technological tool. It's part of your life. You know, and I think that, you know, like today electric cars are part of our life. You don't speak of an electric car like a jump in technology. It's finished. It's part of our time.
Domesticated.
Yes, and so the day when we will have this debate without pronouncing the new technology, I think it will be the answer to your question. So it could take time. Nobody's in a hurry. And so that's time here. But I think it's interesting how things are moving around this world of immersion, education, entertainment. So I think there is a lot of issues which are on the table today, and really nobody has the answers.
Maybe you can speak about your audiences. How many kids come to the museum every year in Singapore?
I think it's definitely very family friendly, of course, given the level of immersion and interactivity and some of the work like slide and everything. So there is a certain appeal to kids. But I think rather than saying it whether it's appeal to kids or audience, I think the best kind of artwork or digital art or any form is really one that can reach to a lot of people, mass appeal itself. The accessibility must be there, not just about age, but race, culture, disability, everything. And if we manage to really think about the whole thing, then I don't think it's a question to really question whether it is suitable for kids or not.
We will arrive to the end of this conversation soon, so maybe we can also speak about the way the artists today take the technology and try to distort, to change it, to bring something new that the technology was not things for, but to change the way. And maybe you can speak about that. The way that you use the technology and you change the destination of this technology to bring something new.
Yes, I think that's a really great question, and I think the ultimate goal of my work, the goal I'm working toward, is to use technology as a means, but at the same time make it invisible, so that it is still the viewer experiencing it and feeling connected to the work so intimately and emotionally engaged. However, there shouldn't be this obstacle of technology. The viewer shouldn't be constantly aware of this technology that is enabling the viewer to experience the art. However, I think it's important, it's important for the viewer to experience the art without realizing that technology being so present. I think that is the time when technology can actually do the job to bring people back to nature, and I think that will be the best balance between art and technology. Instead of having technology as something condescending, enabling artists to do something they dream of, but as a means for them to realize something that is deep.
Show the VR to people, what was interesting for me is to try to understand what they memorize. If they came out and they say, I love VR, I missed the point. If they came out and they say, I love the works of the collection that was shown, that was it. So whatever they say, it's VR, the experience that we love, it means that we fail in using this VR as a way to show art. And just ask the question to people. If they say it's for VR, it means that you miss the point of putting the art in the center of the experience.
Thank you. Maybe we have some questions on the audience. Something at the point.
I have a question.
Yes.
Thinking of, I guess, similar but also contextually show that
work in terms of curation? I suppose in terms of you have a traditional curator who looks at the works and decides placement on the wall, and if it's a sort of VR experience, how is that? Is there a curation? How is that evolving?
There is a curation. There's actually already now existing curators who specialize only in virtual reality, who bring virtual reality experiences around the world. And it is the same like working with video art or installation art. You just find a theme and around that you connect what kind of experience comes in with that. So I think it's not such a difficult distance from being curator of traditional art to being curator of new media art.
And we can see that now we are maybe 4, 5, 6 years of using VR in the artistic world. So we have some artists that come back with a second, a third, a fourth piece. So we start to follow them and to see them. I can show, you can see next week you will have an exhibition started in Centre Culturel Suisse on Mélodie Mousset, which is an artist that starts to be very followed. So yeah, we can see more and more some artists that it's not the first time they use VR, and so we can start to follow some field now.
I think in terms of future world, we do have curation to it instead of just putting the artwork installation inside. We started out with a very simple storyline. It's all about storytelling. So we start with nature because it's like a road trip. You will definitely encounter nature, and then you move on to town, park, and then we all dream of going to space. But because given the nature of the work and what work we select from Team Lab's pre-existing work or new work they've done for us, we sort of changed our curation actually this year. So instead of calling nature and town, we combine them to call it city in the garden to reference back to Singapore being a city in the garden. We have all the greenery space in the urban buildings and whatnot. So we want to bring that back into the exhibition. We have sanctuary, we access sort of like a quiet space between all the hustle bustle of the city work and everything else. And of course we have park and then space. So there's definitely some form of curation in it rather than just placing it and letting people experience it. We want to tell a story about it.
I would like just to add an interesting information. Do you know when VR was created? Because we speak VR as the future. It was created in 1987. So, so just try to understand that technology is not something but in the future that also has a long past. It's becoming, as I said, much more popular when Oculus was bought by Mark Zuckerberg. But before, it existed. And so, always also try to be, when you look at technology, try to understand which are the roots, not try to see which are the present, but try to understand which are the roots and who are behind. And if you look at what is the people who are behind VR, you will be very surprised to see that they are not at all coming from, I should say, mathematicians. The same people that were, a little bit like for the internet, after the revolution of flowers. The same people. Jérôme Lanier is not at all. That's not at all a background of. He's very cool. And you should look at the people behind, and you'll be very surprised of what is the technology.
And just maybe to end this conference, and just to follow what you said, the first experience actually of virtual was in 1957 in the United States, because they bring an experience called Sensorama, and it was a film, and you were on a motorbike with a dual view, because you know that for virtual you need to have a two point of view, and so you were on a motorbike, and you were driving. It was a ride inside New York, and they were bringing you some smell of the road, and some vibration of the road, and it was like so in 57, and it's something incredible that is still. I mean, we can still see that, but we can imagine the complexity in 57 with the film, with the smell, with everything. So yeah, it's a very long history that we try to recreate some global environment now, and now since the last 7 years we are in a new age of this, but I think that the future is bright on this field. Thank you for everybody for